May profits be upon you. How are you, my peoples? Haven't seen you, well, I've never seen you. But I haven't, addressed you in quite a while since last weekend. And I always enjoy interacting with my subscribers and my viewers. And I want to do more, and I have the intent on doing more. But you stay tuned for that. Check it out. Check it out. What we're going to do today was we're going to give an overlook, all right? An overview, excuse me, of the week to come, okay? I'll be looking at the futures charts of each individual currency, and I will take a look at the RT money meter, look at the rankings for this week, who's the strongest, who's the weakest, and all that kind of thing, who's getting stronger, who's getting weaker. And we're going to start with the news, all right, because the news is going to be pretty significant coming this week. Why? Because Wednesday, we got FOMC. Boom. All right, FOMC, economic projections. All right, the Fed interest rate decision is where I'm going with this. All right, that's on the 15th. And look at that number there, the consensus. The consensus view is that we'll get a 1.5% rate hike, right? That's a pretty significant jump from the last one, which was at 1%, right? If the rate hike, if the Fed keeps to their hawkish talk and hike it up this much, we're going to see more strength adding, more strength to the US dollar. And we're going to see the majors be pulled down. All right. Similar to what we already saw start with the last bit of news last week with the CPI data, the inflation numbers. They came in higher than the previous CPI, right? And the Fed was talking about how they were looking at it as peaking at 8.3, but it came in 8.6, and that's a no good. That's no good. That's bad. All right, and those numbers, you saw how the US dollar shot up behind those numbers, right? So we should see more of the same next week if that rate hike comes in at 1.5. All right, now let's take a look at the RT money meter. All right, and what I want you to notice is the rankings, who's at the top three, who's the bottom three. What I want you to notice more than that is which of these indices, which of these currencies is getting stronger. Now let's start at the top. This week, US dollar is still number one. All of the rankings stayed the same, right? 1, 2, all the way down to 8. Everybody stayed the same, but the numbers, their strength has changed. The RT money meter tracks the rate of change over a 15-week period with each individual currency. Last week, the rate of change for the US dollar was 6.39. Now we see the upswing to 7.65. We know the US dollar has been the strongest for weeks, for months, right? But especially when you consider the global inflation, the energy crisis due to the war, and what it caused, the reverberations and all, and it's just a funky time, man. So we know the dollar, people, the money starts going into the dollar as a safe haven, as a flight to safety when there is geopolitical troubles and conflicts. And that means the other currencies see money leave them, see investment leave them. All right, let's look at the CAD. The CAD was at 1.26. Actually, it was climbing at that time. And but you see it has taken a downswing at minus 0.36. Now we're back to neutral. We were bullish neutral at least, but now we're starting to get towards negative neutral. We're going to the other side. That is going in the other direction. Aussie dollar, 0.38 last week. This week, minus 248, minus 247. This is going down as well. And you'll see this as a theme for the rest of these, right? New Zealand dollar, minus 277 last week. This week, minus 571. That is a significant drop, just like the Aussie dollar. All right, now just understand something. The CAD, the Aussie, those are commodities-based commodities. I mean, currencies. And you'll have to notice that at the bottom here are the pound, the euro, the Swiss. These are riskier, well, risk assets, okay, as opposed to commodity-based assets. Got it? Who's on top? Who's on bottom? Who's strong and who's weak now? You understand? All right. The Swiss went from minus 434 to minus 628. Another significant drop to the downside. All right, risk assets. Right, when it's a risk-off environment, the risk assets are the ones that suffer. All right, that feel it. All right, euro was minus 541. Now it is minus 662. All right, pounds went the same way, minus 809, but it stayed relatively stable. All right, but we also have an interest rate decision for the pound coming up. I believe that is on Thursday. Yeah. All right, it's not going to have the impact the FOMC. That's the big daddy that has the potential to reverse markets. Okay, but it is something to watch. We know that they're going to get a rate hike. All right, because they're trying to stay off of inflation as well. All right, but the house rocker is going to be the US Fed when they come up with their decision. Now, last but not least, the yen has gotten weaker. It was heading down, heading in that direction, minus 1204 last week, and this week it is minus 1398. It is getting weaker, but this is the safe haven currency. US dollar, there is, when we're talking about a flight to safety, if you put the US dollar against the yen and the market environment, when it turns to risk off, you'll see yen outperform the US dollar in that way. All right. If this is the global lender, all right, the debt holder of the world. So naturally, you'll see investment go into the yen. But so if the Fed decision, if the Fed decision comes in a little dovish, if it doesn't hit that 1.5, maybe it comes up just 1.0, you're going to see the yen benefit more than the dollar. All right, you're going to see more strength come to the yen, and you'll see an upswing in it, and I'll be looking for longing that yen if that is the case. That's something that you want to keep in mind. All right, if that Fed decision doesn't come in at the projected rate of 1.5, we could see a different shift in the markets, and you'll probably see the indices go up. Now, let's take a look at the individual futures, right? Starting with the Dixie. All right, we already know it's getting stronger, and you can see that upswing here on the 4-hour, right? What are we expecting? I expect it to continue higher. Why? Because look at the areas that it has broken. Look at that high. That high was just taken. All right. Not only was it taken for liquidity, but it was a demand. Hello. What did I just do? Oh man. I'll get it together. One of these days, I'm going to get this thing together. Okay. So we come over here. We've broken this supply. We've broken this supply with a close above. All right. What does that mean? Price is bullish. The order flow is bullish. The demand is in control over supply. All right, as long as we see supply failing, we know that demand is in control. What do I expect? More bullishness. Yes, more bullishness. And I'm thinking that I'm looking at my notes. I'm looking at the US dollar. I'm thinking that we may see a pullback, not a big one, but up until the Wednesday, the FOMC decision, I believe that we may see a pullback so that the big boys can get positions at the cheapest price for that push to the upside. Right. So any pullback, I'm going to look as an opportunity to get in. All right, get in for a long position. All right, and I would look for a 15-minute, go to the 15 minutes time frame and look around this area here for a pullback area, and then take a confirmation trade. You're not trading the futures, but I would look for that area it pulls back to. All right, let's just go there real quick. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. Yeah, I'm looking at this area here. The price comes back down, fills in this gap. I'm looking at price to pull back into that up until Wednesday, and then we can get a long position. You can take longs against the US dollar. All right. Let's go to the Canadian dollar. Something I wanted you to see. You see that big circle there? All right, let's go to the weekly. Why do I have that circle there? Because look at this. All right, last week, it closed very bearish. We already know that the Canadian dollar is going in the wrong direction, getting weaker. All right, coming towards the neutral area of strength. All right, as it made this this bullish push week after week, 3 weeks of it, and then we come back to the middle of it. All right, that will put us at neutral strength, right? You can see that, but this candle is a bearish engulfer, and it's a very strong one. What makes it extra strong? Because we broke the high of the previous candle, closed below the low of the previous candle, and we have a big bearish body. I'm looking for more downside action. All right, so it's that simple. You see that little dotted line here? This is the base candle of this bearish engulfer pattern. I like to see when price comes up for a retest or a mitigation of this zone. Okay, because it is a supply zone. I'm looking for that to be mitigated, and then a further downside price action, right? Go to the 4-hour real quick. So we got that big dizzying. Why that makes this thing so big? I don't know, man. Don't even ask me. All right, so you see how the price action is. We broke that structure. We broke this structure. All right. Maybe we get this pullback. Maybe we get a pullback to this area is where I'll be looking first. This is the 4-hour now. There is a buy to sell wick there. I would think this would be a good area for to look for a price to resume the bearish momentum. Look over here to the left. You can see at the same area, price has interacted with this price level as support, resistance here. We finally broke back by it. We'll come down here, boom, slam through. I'm thinking we'll see this as a support turn resistance kind of situation right at this zone of supply. Okay, that's what I'm looking for, and we'll see. Just again, we're not trading this, so I'm not giving you exact get in short here, whatever. You know, I'm not trading it. We're looking at it as a guide for the actual pairs. Let's go to the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar, you already know. All right, it was heading up. All right, this is a commodities based currency, and we gone from neutral to -247, -247, heading in the wrong direction, becoming very negative, and you can see that in the price action here. All right, we have price breaking the short-term lows, breaking this pivotal low here. All right, this is a structural break here, a break of structure. Price broke past it, gave a shallow pullback and a retracement. And I want you to notice it. Come on, man. Why won't you? I don't know what's my computer sometimes, man. There it goes. All right, we're back to the Australian dollar. Okay, so this is the Aussie. Where did my lines go? And all right, so what I'm sorry, folks. What I'm going to do is I'm not even going to edit that out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to notice that we have a zone of supply here, all right, on the 4-hour. I'm going to mark it, and I'm looking for price to continue bearish, maybe after a retest. So we may see a pullback up until the FOMC, and then we'll see if the numbers come in the way as expected, we'll see a further drop from here, and quite possibly reach down to this level here, which is a major breakout level on a higher time frame. Okay, so that's what I'm looking. That's the outlook for the Aussie dollar. If we go to the New Zealand dollar, we have a similar situation here. All right, we see that we've broken this structure here. All right, broken market structure here. We have a pullback. I love that. I like that pullback because it left some relative equal highs. I'm sure price will want to come back up and get that at some point. We've run into the supply here. We had this reaction, and then we broke through. I would not at all. I'm expecting price to pull back up up until Wednesday, up until the FOMC, and then we can see price turnover and continue the bearish momentum. Why do I have this dotted line here? Because you see price has reacted here as resistance, 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 and then as support. All right, if we broke through that level, price could come back up and test this as resistance again and give the same reaction. All right, but it just so happens to be a demand to supply flip zone. All right, and so I'm looking for that mitigation of this supply. Okay, I just did it again. All right, so that is my outlook for that. Let's go to the Swiss franc. We already know Swiss franc is weak, -434. It's going to -628. Number 5 on the rankings. All right, it's one of the weak ones. All right, and being that it's a risk asset, if the numbers come in FOMC, we are going to see more downside action with the Swiss dollar. You see how the price action was up here. We had a lot of momentum to the downside. This correction is descending, right? There's just a lot of bearishness here. All right, who's in control? Supply is in control for sure. Price formed this supply before it left, so it is unmitigated. Would not surprise me at all if price meanders up here up until Wednesday, and then after the FOMC decision, we would see a continuation of the bearish momentum down to this next zone of demand here and maybe beyond. So we'll see. We'll see how things develop. If in fact we see more downside action here, it just straight off without the pullback, uh, you just have to be patient enough to wait for a proper setup. All right, a proper setup so that you can make sure you don't just try and catch a falling knife, right? You want to get in at it with after a pullback. You want to that's a proper setup. Okay, so we've already broken through this speed bump and this level acting as support, resistance, and support here all the way over. We've broken through. Here we are now. A break above might be a tall task to ask. All right, I would like to see it break that high and then come back between Monday and Wednesday. I would love for that to happen, but maybe we don't get that. Maybe not. We'll see what happens with this currency when it's paired with another currency, and a stronger currency. So we'll see if we can get some upside action here. I'm thinking that we will. All right, so let's go to the euro. Euro's a big one. All right, euro went from -41 to -6, -541 to -662, heading in the wrong direction, heading down. All right, when paired with the euro, with the US dollar, a strong US dollar, we're going to see some more downside action, especially after Wednesday. Now, I'm looking at any opportunity here again, any opportunity. If we see some pullback between Monday and Wednesday for an entry to take it down, especially with the Euro USD. Okay, any pullback will be seen as just an opportunity for an entry. Could it come all the way back here? That's pretty far. I'll be honest with you. This is a 4-hour. It could happen, but you see this precipitous drop here? That was a very momentous drop. So I'm not going to expect anything because I don't want to be disappointed. that's the deal. I don't want to be disappointed, man. So I'm going to see. We're going to see what the pullback might be, but we are entering in a zone of demand right now. So on the 15-minute is where I would be looking for patterns that show that price may want to reverse here, or for the short term, maybe to just buy to sell wick area here. I don't know, but we're going to find out. We are going to find out for sure. All right, if we can get a 38% pullback here, that's fine. But I'm looking for some kind of pullback. All right, and if it decides just to drop on through, that's fine too. But I don't think it'll give us an opportunity. All right, what I look for is those flips. All right, the zone of the demand to supply flip. Maybe we come down here, pull up, crash through. I'm looking for price to come back up into this area so I can take my short. You understand? We'll see. We shall see. Why are I don't understand why this thing I don't understand why this thing is driving me crazy today, man. All right, let's go to the British pound. We have a similar situation with the British pound. British pound's -816 now. All right, was at 809. Kind of seems to stay just weak. It's one of the weakest. All right, but it didn't change the rate of change wasn't as much. But if we look at the pound futures, it looked like there was something very dramatic in the going on with this this currency. Look how sharp it was. I'm going to show you something. Last week and the week prior, very bearish. 2 weeks of bearish candles, right? And this is after a very big impulse to the downside. We had our correction, and now we are starting a new impulse. I have no doubt that we are going to take that low. All right. And those are weekly candles, folks. Weekly candles, I may remind you. So what am I seeing here? I see that price rallied into a zone of demand, and on the daily, you can see a daily zone of supply. I'm sorry. All right. You can see that it made this higher low here, and then made a higher high, a technical higher high. But for me, it didn't break this zone, this daily zone of supply, because there was no break and close above. So the supply held, pushed price back down. Okay. And we have broken this higher low. Okay. We broke this structural higher low here. So for me, that's significant because this was a zone of demand at one time before it failed. See what I'm saying? All right, which means I'm looking for price to pull back to the last zone of demand. Now that zone might be on a lower time frame. It might be on a 1 hour. All right, but I'm hoping that price will give me a line to draw with. All right, I'm hoping that price will come back up and find at least the breakout area, the breakout level to retest, and then we can see price come on down. I'm hoping that that's exactly what happens between Monday and Wednesday. I'm hoping that the FOMC will give us an opportunity to come in for a short here. Does that make sense? I hope so, because after every impulse comes a correction and then a new impulse. I believe that we are about to correct next week and then come down and touch off at this this 4 hour zone here. I'm trying to make these things disappear and they're not going anywhere. All right, this 4 hour zone here, and then quite possibly beyond these lows. So I am looking for the best price in which to get in for a short. Monday through Wednesday may give us a better price. Okay. And the last one is the yen, the Japanese yen. You're already seeing how weak it is, minus 1204 to minus 1398. I mean, it's getting weaker. However, what I want you to notice is it came down to this weekly zone. Look at this weekly zone. Check it out. This weekly zone of demand. If we go to the, why aren't you showing? There you go. We go down here, we are at the extreme of this demand. All right, we are at the extreme of it. All right, this zone was this wide. All right, but now price has bore down into it. Okay, and we're at the very tip of it, the extreme. All right, it could very well reverse from here because look at all the buyers that were here and how it pushed price all the way up. All right, I'm looking for a reaction here of some kind. All right, this is the yen now. All right, this is a pivotal area, I said pivotal. All right, so if we come down to the 4 hour, there is the other side of the FOMC. If the FOMC comes in with lower numbers, instead of a 1.5% rate hike, it comes in at 1.0, then we can see strength return to the yen, and we can see price start to come on up. All right, so I want you to be wary of that. All right, if the FOMC numbers don't come in the way we think that everybody's expecting, yen pairs are where you should be focusing your energy. All right, I'm talking about where'd you go? Okay. Something's not right here. All right, there you go. I'm talking about the yen pair. Okay. If the yen finds strength because the dollar is weakened, all right, the yen will find strength, and you're going to put those against all of these up here. The CAD, the Aussie, New Zealand dollar. All right, you want to put that yen against those. All right, CAD yen, Aussie yen, New Zealand dollar yen. All right, and that's where you want to go, because this is going to be the king of safe havens. All right, to include more so than the US dollar. All right, so look for that. Now, if the FOMC numbers come in, just look for more weakness to come into this market. All right, just look for continued weakness. Right now, you see these, I got 1 hour zones marked for this currency. All right, I'm looking for areas that price could fail. This is a zone of supply. This is a zone of demand. You can see a support and the resistance trader will say we're at strong support. All right, but the way I see it is we are in this demand, and we have not gotten down to the EQ, the equilibrium of this demand zone yet. All right, we still have that, and that could serve to reverse price. We can come down a little further because we are in the EQ of this larger weekly zone of demand. You understand? But I am thinking that if price does its thing, I see what was going on here. Can I get, there you go. All right. So if price does its thing on FOMC Wednesday, I see price breaking through, maybe coming back up and touching off at the supply here, this 1 hour supply, because we took out this demand here. So this would be the flip. I would like to see price coming down from there. That's why I would take shorts. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right. Now, as part of this outlook for the next week ahead, I'm also looking at gold. All right. All right. Gold futures. As we can see on the 4 hour, we can see price made its low here, battled up, and we did all this sideways price action. I don't like sideways price actions unless it's ranging in a place where I can say, all right, if it comes down here, I'm going to take longs. If it comes up here, I'm going to take shorts. If the range is wide enough, it could be very, very nice trading. All right. But in this case, it did serve well here, it did serve well there, it did serve well here. Okay. Now, where are we at? Where are we at now? Prices in daily supply. Daily supply, we just swept that high there. I'm thinking that we're going to see some rounding over to the downside from here, maybe down to these lows. All right, maybe to touch off here for a mitigation of this demand zone. I'm going to draw this 4 hour demand zone right here. All right. And I'm going to mark that for you. Okay. I marked that wrong. There you go. All right. So if price comes back down here, I'm looking for price to hit here. Now, with FOMC, I'm not expecting gold to go up. Why? Because gold is versus the US dollar. That's going to be its natural headwind. Okay. So I'm not looking for price to take off here. I'm looking for weakness to come. That's why I am looking for more downside action after this rally up last week. Okay, so that's where I'm at on this. If we see price come on down here, that would be my TP. I would look on the 15-minute time frame for confirmation entries for shorts. All right, as it may go up a little higher before turning around, and then I would take that low. I mean that entry there. Yeah, and that dotted line. Look at this dotted line all the way over. Support here, resistance here, support and resistance here. We finally broke through, came back, tested as resistance, and here we are again. This is that lovely double top. A lot of support and resistance guys like to trade. Okay, got to be careful over here. All right, I look at it as a matter of liquidity, and we could come up for another sweep and then take the train to downtown. Let's look at US oil. All right, what am I looking at on US oil? If we look at the 4-hour, we see this rally. It's been strong, man, and I think it'll remain that way for the short term, where it has traded into a demand. I mean, I look at that D and I said demand supply, a daily supply. If we look at the supply on the daily time frame, we can see that this is a very clean demand. I mean, a very clean supply, and it filled the imbalance on the way up as it traded into it. So this is a very good zone. I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback and then a continuation. See how it's been stair-stepping all the way up? Come on, man. Push a little impulse up, a correction, another impulse up, a correction, another impulse up, a little correction. They're not as broad as much anymore, right? Those swing highs and swing lows, they're starting to narrow a little bit up here. So I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback, and we're getting that here. And then I'm going to look for the resumption of bullish order flow. All right, so if we go to the 4-hour, these are the areas I'm looking at. This looks like it's out of nowhere, but what it is I have a demand here. This is the extreme of the 4-hour demand. All right, the wick demand, what I call the nitty gritty. All right, we're coming down to the nitty gritty here. We didn't quite make it there. This could be inducement for price for traders to get into buys early, come back and get their stop losses, mitigate this zone, and then continue up. And that would be consistent with this stair step pattern that we got going on up there. So that's what I'm looking for. That's the scenario. I'm looking for price to maybe pull down between Monday and Wednesday, and then pull up again. All right. That's it. I hope you enjoyed what you just saw. All right. It's a miracle. All right. It's been my pleasure to share this analysis with you. If you enjoyed it, make sure you tap that like button. Do it now, please. Smash it, smack it, do whatever you got to do. Flip it, do whatever you got to do. All right, with that like button. All right, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can catch my updates. Do make sure you click on the bell notification so that you can get those. You can be notified whenever I put out some updates. All right, and do leave a comment. Let me know if you like this outlook video. Now, the videos that are coming behind this one, all right, that I'm going to be producing today are going to be short videos, 5 to 10 minutes with each setup. I'm going to give you my hot list, the ones that I'm watching for a bigger trade, a longer trade, not just a session trade, but more towards a short swing. All right. I'm looking for something I can hold all week. That's what I would like to do. All right. So, or at least a couple of days. And so those individual currencies I'll be handling from this point. All right. But this is the outlook video, so you can get a broad view and an overview of what we're looking for in the week ahead. I hope you enjoyed it. Do leave a comment. Let me know if you like this or not. If you what I can do to improve it to make it more watchable for you. All right. I will see you in the next video. It's always a pleasure, and I appreciate your support, especially for those that have been with me from the beginning. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.